Hello and welcome to a new episode of the BIMvoice podcast. My name is Petru and today I have the pleasure to talk with the lecturer at the Technical Vocational College in Oslo, Harald Selvær. Welcome, Harald.
Thank you very much, Petru, for having me. It's an honor to be here, and I am looking forward to participating in your podcast.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's very good because you have a little bit special profile, you know. And I was looking forward to this chat because you are. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we have this kind of studies outside Norway. From your experience, I see you worked over 10 years with this teaching BIM and creating BIM technicians, because this is what you are doing there. Do you know, are there similar programs outside Norway as well? Do you know anything about this?
Not exactly like what we are doing. I don't think so, and I would be, if there are, please correct me. I will be very happy to learn about it, but as far as I know, I don't think so.
Okay. Then I'll give you the word, and please introduce yourself, and we go from there.
Yes, thank you. My name is Harald Selvær. I'm from Norway, and I'm 47 years old. My background is as a plumber. So I have worked as a plumber on construction sites for a number of years. Then in 2008, I started up as a student at the newly started up BIM technician study at Oslo Technical Vocational College. And 2008, well, that's so 10 years ago, but in the BIM world, that's a bit more than 10 years. It's like dog years, you might say. So a lot of things happen very fast when we're talking about 3D and about BIM. So in 2008, you might say that 3D modeling and BIM was a bit premature, but I understood that this was so interesting and so important and had the potential to change so much that I wanted to be a part of it.
I understand.
Luckily, I was given the opportunity to become a teacher at the same vocational college where I started up as a student. So I grabbed that opportunity, and I haven't looked back since. And that's 10 years ago now. So as I have been working as a teacher. And since then, I have also finished my master's degree in pedagogics, where I wrote a thesis about digital collaboration and learning, how those two things can be joined and can benefit from each other. And what I mostly focus on in my lecturing and teaching is collaboration, how to teach our students to collaborate digitally in construction projects, and also on collision control, and specifically on the use of the software Solibri, which is almost in Norway an important tool for both collaboration and assessing the quality of models. Yeah, so that's who I am and where I come from, in short term.
I understand. So you are a practical man. That's nice, because we need this experience moved in the theoretical field as well, because it will help when you form out the new workers to have this more practical approach at job. But let's go a little bit deeper into this. Who are these technicians? What is a BIM technician?
Well, first of all, a BIM technician is a title that we have invented before our school started this curriculum. There was no such things as BIM technicians. So when the curriculum started, we thought, what are we to educate? What are they to become? And they were to focus on BIM, and a technician was something that we landed on, was quite describing. But who they are construction workers. So our students are, and our school, I must say, is a bit different from what you might say another technical university or another technical college. We take construction workers who want to educate them to get a more technical background on their own profession. So we have plumbers, we have bricklayers, carpenters, electricians, and so forth. And we give them 1 year, 2 year, 1 plus 2 years of technical education, so they become vocational. It's a Norwegian title, so it's a bit difficult to translate. We call it a technical vocational engineer, if that makes sense. So what we do is we try to combine the practical knowledge that the construction workers have, and give them a broader perspective to the whole building industry, and that is many aspects, and one of them is building information modeling. So where I work, we have 1 year where we take our students focus 100% on BIM. And I think that is maybe what is not so normal, or maybe even unique, that there's nothing other than BIM that we teach for a whole year, which means that that's what we focus on, and they have their previous skills from their construction, like plumbers and electricians. They have that background with them, and we you might say add BIM to that knowledge, and what they end up with is a person that is both technical and practical, both technical and practical savvy. And from what we can see, they are in demand, and they are able to solve quite a lot of BIM problems on sites. As you probably have experienced, BIM is nothing like an iPhone. So you can't just switch and add, and not everything works out of the box. It needs to be adjusted. It needs to be, well, you need to know what to do, why you're doing it, and when you know that, it's not even easy to put the software into good use, and then you have the process that comes on top of that. So it's complicated.
Yeah,
which means that I think that as an educational institution, it's important for us to focus on that.
yeah, definitely. But let me ask you something more personal. Why do you think it's important that these trades workers, the practitioners, the workers, the hardcore workers, need this kind of skill? How do they fit in a company? Do they have problems finding a job?
Well, that's I can answer that question on 2 levels. One, our students, they have the background as construction workers. When they add the technical knowledge, they are no longer construction workers. They are getting employed in architectural companies, engineers, contractors, builders, software suppliers, and so forth. So they take the background with them, and they leave their blue collar at home, you might say. The other answer to that question is the construction sites, which is still there. And there is quite a lot of construction that needs to be done. And the information on the construction sites is also changing. I think that the use of BIM for when it started up, and to quite an extent still, is something that is done inside in the offices when the projects are in the initial phase, and when it's starting up. And then we can maybe start to talk about life cycle assessment and so forth. But mainly it's a planning tool. From what I can see, BIM is being pushed out to the actual construction sites as well. So you have quite a lot of projects which no longer have the traditional 2D drawings on site. There are only models, which means that the information has changed. The information on the planning side is no longer two-dimensional, it's three-dimensional, and that is also starting to become the reality on site, which means that the participants or the construction workers on site also needs to be able to read those models, or that language, you might say. Three-dimensional models is a language, you might say, and you need to understand it. And I would say that it's a matter of democracy. You need to have the possibility to participate. You need to know the language. You need to understand the meaning of what is the intention of the building and the project. And it's not a language that is exclusively for those who wants to plan or to build or to pay for the projects. Somebody has to build it, and they need to know that language. And also somebody is going to use the construction sites or the actual projects. They also need to know what this language is, what it can do, what you can ask from it, and what you can demand from it. So it's not a hidden secret language for a few. I think that, as I said, it's a matter of democracy, that it's open. And like the IFC, it's open and it's free. So yeah, I think that is also an aspect that is easy to forget.
Yeah, that's very important. You said that they have experience, people applying for these studies. Are there no new, fresh students from high school going directly to this? Is not possible? It's a requirement to have experience to apply to this school?
Our requirement is practical experience. Yeah. So for us, that is how our school is organized and the framework that we need to apply to. But I know that universities and colleges in Norway are also providing top-notch BIM education. So we're not exclusive in that way.
Okay, I understand. How much experience does somebody needs to have to be able to be eligible?
They need to be sort of a certified craftsman or woman. That means that they have to finish their apprentice period, and that is like 4 years in the trade. So it means that our students have all this two years at school and 2 years at the site. So they have at least 4 years of practical knowledge when they come to us. Yeah.
So it's 4 years.
So some are quite young in the beginning of the 20s, and some are even older than me in their 50s. So that's a big span, but we find that they have a different thing they bring to the table. The older guys have a lot of experience and know-how on solving problems, finding solutions, and the young ones are a bit more tech-savvy, which also is needed. Yeah. So we try to combine those two worlds.
Yeah, but this is very good for a little bit older people because of the physicality, right? Being a construction worker in so many years, you have. It's very nice to have a more office option if you want to do that. How many places or how many students do you have each year?
We have room for 60 students each year. We have 3 classes. And we have started up a new class this year, today, actually. And
good luck with that.
We have one class for, we call them the construction workers, which means the carpenters, bricklayers, steel workers, sort of the framework for the building. Then we have an installation class, which are plumbers, ventilation, and electricians, HVAC.
Yeah.
And then our new class is everything on the outside, the sites, which means road and railroads and tunnels and and that is the reason we started up that class is because of the demand. We have, for one thing, quite a lot of our students who do not have background in railroads, tunnels, and so forth, are ended up with working with it. So even if that's not their background and it's not their trade, the knowledge of BIM and handling models make them interesting for that sector as well. And we were approached by quite a lot of different stakeholders in that part of the building industry who asked us, can't you do something similar with our sector as well? So we gave it a hard thought and say, let's do it. Because from what we can see, that sector is wanting to use three-dimensional modeling. They want to use a model-based way of implementing information. They want to collaborate in ways which are very similar to what we see in the building industry. Yeah. So, and they are big, and they want they build big, and they need people. So we have done that for one day now, and hopefully you can ask me in a year, and we'll see how things are going. But I think I'm optimistic.
Yeah, definitely. Good luck with that. But I'm sure I don't have any doubts this is going to go well.
And then we also started up another curriculum, which are quite more limited, not a year, but and that is sort of a more of a on-site training for construction workers, which are not to like our other students who have want to do something else. They are supposed to be on site on the construction site, but receive training in how to use 3D models, how to use digital platforms, how to use different sort of software which are in high demand on site. So, and that is a collaboration between the unions, the construction unions, and the employee organizations. We said, we want this on our sites. We provide the workers, which we want to educate further, but we want them to take that knowledge on their future projects. Yeah. So also new. We have started it up. It's not finished, and hopefully we'll scale it up and it will be available for to a larger extent of people. Yeah.
That's good. This is the new learn how to read drawings instead of drawings. Like
yeah, you might say that. Learn the new language. Yeah,
exactly. Know how to use the models and understand them to construct them, to build them, right?
Yeah. So they are not making their own models. They are not doing the tests, but they need to know what they can expect and what they can demand, and how to if there are no drawings, they are still to deliver the project as the client wants it.
I understand. That's interesting. How do they learn this? If they work, they are still working, right? How do they combine the work with studying?
Well, we have organized in a way that we have sort of gatherings of 3 days, where they leave their construction site and they come to us, and we have tried to make the most of that time. and make it very practical. For instance, one of these days we're focusing on safety and health, and we try to see how is new technology being implemented on that area. And we see that virtual reality is being implemented, starting to be implemented. So they were given the training how to orient themselves on a construction site in virtual reality, and it's starting up to be they can do a sort of safety and health training without being on top of a roof, but they can sort of address dangers in a safe space, you might say. Yeah. So that's one example of it.
Okay. And how often do they need to come these 3 days? Each week or each month, or what is the interval?
We have a total of 6 gatherings with 3 days in each of them, going over a year.
I understand.
Here they have completed the course, and we will have, of course, parallel groups running as well. And we have started up, but we are also scaling up. So this will be available in other cities in Norway as well, like Trondheim, Stavanger, and so forth.
Yeah, that sounds good. Do they need to take an exam at the end, or it's important just to have the experience?
No, they deliver a written statement showing what they have done, and they will graduate from our college with a paper and also some what you get it sort of study points connected to it. So it's a formal education as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. You mentioned earlier Solibri.
Yeah.
But before we dive deeper into this, what is your definition of BIM?
Well, my definition of BIM, what I would like it to be, or what it's today?
Both.
Both. Well, the easy answer: building information modeling, the combination of geometry, information, and an object-based way of accessing information, I would say. Yeah.
And what would you like it to be?
Well, I would like it to be used to its full extent.
Okay, so you are not very happy.
The difference on what is possibility and how it's used are quite different. And I also see the parallel when it comes to education. I think that, I don't know if it's a main problem, but a problem is that a lot of processes, a lot of companies, a lot of construction projects, they add BIM to the projects, and they expect it to change everything. So they have their way of producing things, the way of producing projects, a way of planning their projects, which are traditional and which uses traditional methods like 2D drawings, and uses a traditional way of having a competition where they put in the different tenders, and one is winning, and so forth. And they think that the problems linked to that will change once that they get a three-dimensional model of that project. And that is not the case. Many of the problems linked to the construction industry is still there, even if we are more digital, and even if we have 3D models as well. And I see the same thing when it comes to education. So I must say that my perspective is the educational one. So I talk about how can my students be good at BIM? How can they be productive in a BIM process? That's what I try to deliver. So I don't build hospitals, I don't build roads, but I'm hoping that my students will be capable and competent in their new jobs. So that's my product.
I understand.
When it comes to education, I think that many schools and universities, colleges, and so forth, they also add technology and they add BIM to what's already there. So they have their traditional way of teaching, and it's even older than many of the methods in the construction industry. It's a model dating back from the monasteries and writing of Bibles when there were no book prints. So that was sort of, that's how the classroom was built or born. You have one person reading a text, and then you have 20 or so something writing that down in a book, because that was one way of copying books.
Yeah.
And that was how they learned to read or write. But that's Middle Ages. But that classroom still exists, and that classroom is more or less how we produce new classrooms today. So you have a model that is in fact de facto medieval, and then you add technology to it, and you think now we have changed everything. I'm being a bit ironical, but you are probably getting my point. I don't think that is the approach. New technology and new way of producing things also means that we have to organize how we produce and how we educate in a different way. And I think that when it comes to education, we need to stop broadcasting. Well, we are doing a podcast now, so we are broadcasting, you might say, but when it comes to learning something, and I have to use myself as an example, if somebody reads a text to me and they might be very knowledgeable and what they are reading is correct, the correct way to do it, I don't learn so much from that. I can hear what they say, but a very low percentage of what they are trying to make me learn, it doesn't stick. So if I'm to do what they are told me afterwards, I will fail. But I need to do things. I need to make it happen. I can reproduce what they're saying to a certain level, so I can learn the skills, I can learn what to do in what order and so forth. But after that, I have to construct my own knowledge in order to make that knowledge internal and make that knowledge my own.
Yeah.
And that is what we try to do with BIM. So BIM is, for me, a very practical thing. It's something that you need to do. So I can teach my students to do this and that in Solibri or in Archicad or in Revit, and they can see what I do and they can copy it, but that doesn't make them good at Solibri or good at Revit. It's a point when they make their own projects, when they collaborate with other students, when they transfer data to and forth, and they come up with something else.
Exactly.
That's what I mean with we cannot just add technology. We have to change what we are doing and change the activities of our education.
Yeah. When we learn something, like, it's just the introduction. The real learning, it's when you put it in practice, when you encounter challenges and when you solve those challenges. And even if you don't solve those challenges, the process in documenting how do you solve that challenge will make you grow a lot.
True.
Like with what I'm doing right now. This is a challenge. I'm learning.
Problem solving, for instance, it's very important. And documenting problem solving is equally important. And when it comes to BIM, problem solving is everything. Not so many things work out of the box, I might say. You always need to fix this, and you need to know how to do that, and you need to plan ahead, and in a sudden thing works. Why does it work? You need to be able to backtrack what you have done, what you have tested out, and why you have ended up with what you have done. So that is also a very important skill for somebody working in the BIM sector to do.
Yeah, this can be applied, like, if you want to grow as a person as well. This is maybe applied generally as well. but I understand this more specialized in this case. But this is something I try to apply in the everyday life. It's something like, yeah, you need to see what can you learn from something that you don't that doesn't go how you expect, and how can you do it better. Outside of this vocational school, are there any other studies in Norway from what you know so far? Are there any master programs or
Yes,
any bachelors for this?
yes. We started up a master program in digital managing of construction projects. Forgive me for the translation at NTNU. I'm not. I don't know so many details about it, so maybe you should do our own podcast on that. I also know that NTNU is collaborating with Stanford University with regarding their certification of VDC and integrated current engineering, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
And it's what I have written a master thesis about, how we can implement that methodology on our school as well. So, yeah.
Can you say a few words about that?
I can do that. You have got me started now.
That's perfect.
What I tried to find out and do was, how could we as a vocational college implement VDC, virtual design and construction, and integrated concurrent engineering, which is, first of all, we saw that quite a lot of our students ended up in positions where they had to deal with those processes. So, and they needed to be knowledgeable about it. So we started up, okay, how can we gain knowledge about this topic? How can we give them what they need to be functional and function well in such processes? So I started up trying to grasp it and see what Stanford University has done regarding that topic. And I think that they have proven beyond doubt that collaboration is something that gives a positive benefit to our construction projects. And that's very good. So you can say that, okay, working together, finding solutions together, working digitally together is something that is beneficial for a project. And they have sort of drawn up different tools and different methods in order to how to work efficiently in construction projects. But for me, it was difficult to adapt what they were doing to our vocational college, because Stanford's approach is very much on-site on the actual projects they are doing, which is great. It gives effects on the projects. But for us, sort of sideline to that, we needed a bit different approach, and we needed to get our students to be active on their own. And what I found about it is I sort of ended up having to answer not only what are they doing, why is VDC doing what it does, what are the content of an ICE meeting, but I ended up asking, why does it work? Okay, they can show that this works. This means that the project will be delivered faster, cheaper, and at a better quality. And that's good. But I found out they were not, well, I was not satisfied with how they answered, why does it work? And that is boiling down to, why does collaboration work at all? Why is it so that if we collaborate, we do things better? And that was something I was a bit puzzled about, but I have tried to answer it, and I think that my answer is divided into two. And the first part of it is that if you collaborate, and particularly in an ICE meeting, a current engineering meeting, you are in a common setting. You are quite equal. You make decisions within that specific meeting and that specific room. You are sharing information, and you have also committed to a common goal, which is to deliver on whatever that project needs to deliver on. But that is what you want to deliver on. It's a bit different than delivering on a project which is I want to get win the competition and maybe make money of the revisions coming on later on, which is a different take on how to make your money. So a functional, integrated, concurrent engineering process is a process which I think is described by a high level of trust. The participants trust each other and they want the project to go well. And you might say, if you trust each other and you want the project to go well, it probably will go well.
That should be the default anyway. Like everybody, like if you do something.
If I don't trust you and I'm looking out for number one, the chances are that I will be proven right.
Yeah, that's just a common sense. I don't know why must we fight so much to get to a normal level now in the industry. Why doesn't people understand that we need to cooperate and for the sake of the project?
When I took a look at it, it was I see that the construction industry is riddled with problems and conflicts and lawyers and lawsuits and so forth. And I don't think that is bringing the industry forwards. So that's one thing. You need to have a level of trust, and you need the participants to feel that they can make decisions in that project. And I call that a high level of empowerment, for a lack of a better word. You need to be empowered in the project. You have to feel that this project is a project where I can make decisions and we can make decisions together for pushing that project further on. So that's good, but that's only one part of the answer. And the other part of it is maybe a bit more difficult, and that there will always be problems and there will always be conflict in a project. And that can be between the client and the contractor, or it can be between those who make steel trusses and those who deliver HVAC ducts. It's difficult. And if you need to put up a wall and there is a HVAC duct coming through, you might call that a conflict. And you have to see how can that conflict be solved. It's finding its solution one way or another, often on construction sites, by who has the loudest voice or who was there physically first, or I just do it anyway and you can tear it down and then I will get money to put it up again, and whatever silly things that happen. So there are problems and there are contradictions in a project. I have taken a look at that, how contradictions can also be productive, and contradictions is a way to make things move forward. You and I can have a disagreement. You say your thing, I say my thing, or hopefully when you say your thing, I think about what you say and I resonate to you, and my answer will depend on what you are saying. I will respond in a way that I will try to make us move forward. Well, that is if we are have a common goal, which is to find a solution. If I'm always thinking about my side, my response will be not to you, but I will sort of give a backward answer. I will try to safeguard what I'm saying.
Your standpoint, yeah.
You can't sue me, or I can say something that will be profitable for me further on the road. But we still need problems because we need solutions. A solution is dependent on a problem or a contradiction. A contradiction and a problem is a good thing because it can lead to new solutions. And believe me, construction projects need new solutions. So that means that we need to cherish the problems and the contradictions that happen in a project, but we need to do that within a framework of trust and empowerment. Because when I trust you, we can solve a problem together.
Yeah, everything what you just told me the last 10 minutes or 5 minutes, I cannot stop thinking about contracts.
Yeah.
Do you have experience with contracts, with type of contracts, better type of contracts?
Yes, because this goes back to the framework. This goes back to how do you make money in a project? Because you have to make money in a project because you want to be able to participate in the next project. So that's number one. But it's important to see how can we make money in a project in a sustainable way. So do I make money from making revisions, or do I make money from the project going well? So you can see if I'm in a project where I deliver I win the competition at a low price, and I know that what the client has wants is lacking a bit. He needs more than he has said, but I'm not telling him that. He will find out later when I send my revisions, and it's my revisions which I make my money from. That means that it will not be profitable for me to make a good solution as the first thing I do in the project. It will not be profitable for me to make a good BIM model which solve all collisions, which solve all problems firsthand, because then there will be no revisions and I will have won the competition at a low price, and that will be the end of me. So that's something that the client needs to address and say that, okay, I want you contractors to agree on a level on this project. I want this quality at this time, and I want it done at this price. Can we agree on that? And if you agree on that, then I get dependent upon you as another contractor to do your part. And then I will use my initiative and my skills in order to make the project go well. It means that also if I know you as working in another sector, another technical area, often I can know what the problems will be ahead. I know if you do this and that will cause trouble down the road. And I can make a decision if I won't say anything about it until that problem occurs. And then I can rearrange and revise and ask for extra money for these problems to be solved, which costs the client. Or I can say, I see there's a problem ahead. If we solve this now, we'll all gain from it, and we'll all gain from it if we agree in the first hand how to what sort of the total framework of the project will be. But this is my way of explaining integrated project delivery, which Stanford has written quite a lot about. I think that's hopefully a way to go forward. That's the process part of BIM. That's not software. So that is collaboration between human beings, and you don't need a software to do that. It works better sometimes with a software, but we don't need to wait for the software to be perfect to do that.
No, definitely. No. The tools are just here to empower the way of working, right? But the approach, the open approach, should not wait for this, and we don't need to wait for anything if we want to deliver something better, like you said, sustainably, and at the gain of everybody, right? If like through IPDs, if you are incented, you earn more if you do a better project quicker, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But what do you do? Are there many projects going around in Norway using this type of contract?
It's starting up. It's early days, I would say, but the sort of the sector concerning railroads, tunnels, and roads are also looking into it and starting up using it. So, and also at least one hospital has put it to use. So it's starting up and it's becoming a demand from the clients, and especially the governmental clients, which I think has a vital role in pushing BIM forward. They need to be in the front seat, and they need to say, okay, we want BIM to go forward, and we want BIM to go forward in a sustainable way. And we as big governmental clients are able to do that, and they are doing that. So I would say that that's a very positive thing that needs to be in place in order for.
That's very good news because this is happening.
It's not easy, and it's difficult to change how we work, and it's difficult to change the actual economical framework of our project. That's tough.
Yeah, it's going to have an impact. This is the challenge. Because why the other involved parts in this, if they make money with the model they run right now, like from revision, like you said, right? Why would they want to go to something better? But if the owner or the client puts out like, these are conditions, if you want to build my project or design my project, you need to accept this, then you have no choice, right? So it's definitely a very, very big step forward. I'm really looking forward to that, to see the big Statens Vegvesen, Bane NOR, Stats big approach using more often, and promoting this kind of contract, because you see like there are many projects that go a lot over the budget anticipated, right? So this is also a very big problem. So that's why the clients should focus. I don't really know how it's going on with the private projects, but with public state projects, like, we have this problem, as everybody knows. And this is not only in Norway. This is something generally, like, all over the world. Are there any other type of contracts? I mean, like, IPD might not be perfect. Definitely, nothing is perfect, right? But we will learn from trying it. At least it looks better from the standpoint where we are right now, right? But did you hear about other kind of projects as well?
There are some hybrid versions, I've been told, that implement the same sort of methodology to a certain level. So I think maybe not textbook IPD, but implementing some elements of it, and I think that's positive. We need to think new, and I think that there are different ways of doing a good project. Yeah.
Yeah. Regarding the customers, the clients, right? Do you think are there other challenges from my experience, from my point of view? I see that they are a little bit behind, and I'm not talking about Statens Vegvesen and Bane NOR, even if also they have some parts that are not doing very good, but there are some very nice things happening. But there are other customers. I don't know too much about municipalities. Because you work in this field, maybe you encounter and you definitely hear more. Is happening something there as well? Are they interested to do more, to adopt BIM? Are they learning? Are they trying to do something, or they just expect for Stats Big to publish a standard or something and just replicate that?
I say the correct answer would be yes or no. But things are happening, definitely, and I think that BIM is not it's not one thing. It's not one stage at a time. It's a multitude of different answers and different levels, different ways of implementing it, and some are more successful than others. But when you talk about clients, it's also one-time client is one thing, but you talked about different sectors of both commercial and governmental who builds a lot all the time, and they will gain from using BIM for sure. But their difficulty may lie in the other end. As I said, that BIM has started up as a planning tool, and we are starting now to get some experience on the construction sites, but we are far from
asset management.
Asset management is still far ahead. It's starting up, but it's difficult. There are obstacles, as it's obstacles on our side, sort of if I reckon myself as the knowledgeable side, those who are trained in BIM or train others in BIM, it's difficult. So for the users, it will be even more difficult, to put it very easy or simple.
But they need to understand why they need to do this, because it's ironically, right? Because they have the most to gain from this. Because if they require better documentation, they will get better documentation that can be used, right? And maybe they don't think too much about this. Like I know project managers, project leaders are very focused to build the project. They are stressed by schedules and they want to succeed doing that, right? But we need to think that the building part of the project, it's at most 20% of the time of the use of that building or project, right? Or infrastructure project, no matter what it is. Because if you build a tunnel or a railroad, you'll use it 100. You plan to use it 100 years, and you build it in 10 years, right? What's that? 10%, right? So most of the benefits you get afterwards. It might get a little bit more expensive if you require better documentation, but you might gain a lot from that in the future, right?
Yeah, so in theory, it's very easy, and you have a model which contains all the information, which is what you need for your facility management. But in reality, that's not the case. I think maybe a simple answer to why is that building information modeling, software and process is geared into planning and building. So that's what it's been used for, and that's what it's been paid for. And when the building, the construction project is done, those who have participated in making that BIM, they are done. They are finished. They're moving on to the next project. So the existing BIM model is constructed for making meeting the deliveries on the project until the client's ready to put it to use. So it's not the client in most cases that had ordered the BIM. It's not the client who had made demands on how the BIM is going to be made, how it's going to be structured, how the information is going to be available. It's something that's used in the planning process on site, and pretty much that. So that's a task ahead to make the clients aware on what they need and how to make demands on how the model is to be available in a good way. And I do not have the answer to how that is achievable.
Yeah, well, that starts like everything else from education, right? You need to inform yourself, right? Like if you see these people doing the other actors, the designers, the constructors, and other actors in the supply chain using these tools, why do they do that? Because there are tools for asset management as well. There are more advanced and not so popular as our tools, like Revit, like Solibri, like Navisort, like this one, of course. But there are tools. But to know that, you need to look around, right? And like from what you said, like if the designers and constructors are earning money, driving business like now, they because we are another factor here, right? Like we as consultants, first and foremost, we should inform them. We should help them try to see why, because this, right? But yeah, it's a little bit, it's a very, very sketchy situation, I would say, and very challenging. It's very difficult to find a very clear solution to this. But I think everything starts with informing yourself, and first and foremost, like every organization, every client in our industry, first thing, and at least the only thing they need to do, they need to start talking about a BIM strategy at the organizational level. Do they want to have approach and use BIM on their project? I don't think they have a choice. If you have these big actors doing that, you have no choice, because everybody will adjust to them, and you must do it as well, because otherwise you will just burn money, right? Because it's not effective. We do this not just for fun, right? We do this because it's more effective, right? This is the, like, what is the purpose? If it's BIM, it doesn't matter if it's BIM or if it's something else, right? If our purpose is to make more sustainable buildings, quicker, save more money, and everybody being happier for this, right? And having customers more happy, and this is the way. Right now, this is the way. Might transform to something else later, but right now, this is the way, right? So I don't know how you, as an institution, I don't know if you have customers from this kind of clients, like because you have only practical people, right? But do we have in the education system a way to inform the asset managers and the asset owners?
That's a very good question. Some of our students are ending up working for clients, but there are few clients who knock on our door, I would say, and there should be quite a lot. So that's important. I'll try to answer your question with talking about something completely different. Cameras. In 1913, Leica, the producer of cameras,
Yeah.
They introduced their first M series camera. It's if you're into photography, it's for many the holy grail of cameras. And today, Leica is recognized as a camera producer with extremely high quality. The quality of their building is high, and their lenses are superior to none. But that was not why they were successful. Up to then, taking pictures was something you did with a single frame. You had to have one single frame, which was your film. So you didn't have 12, 24, or 36 pictures. You have one picture, you had one exposure, and you had to take that frame and put it to make a print of it.
Yeah.
So what they did was simple and quite genius. They took something that was available in large quantity from another industry, and that was the Hollywood industry, the film industry, because they produced 35 millimeter film in large quantities for the movie industry. So they took this 35 millimeter film and they divided it up to frames and spun it around, put it into the camera and say, now you don't have one frame, you have 36 frames on a picture. And so photography as we know it was born. So everybody could have a camera in their pocket. They could take 12, 24, 36 pictures. It was something that was cheap. It was available, and you could it would fit in your pockets. Not something on three legs with one frame, very expensive, and so forth. So what we need is Leica or somebody else to come up with a solution for 2020 on how to use that information that is already there and find a way to access the information in a way that's something that everybody can put in their own pockets, on site, everywhere, cheap and functional. And the quality and the lenses came afterwards. That was not why they were successful. They put to use a technology that was already there into the mass market. So I think that's maybe what the facility management needs.
Yeah.
To talk about something completely different thing, but still technology.
Yeah. I will go back to the softwares. You said you are teaching Solibri. What other softwares are you teaching the students?
Quite a lot. First off, they need to make some models, and we use ArchiCAD, we use Revit, we use Tekla, we use add-ons and plugins to Revit like MagicCAD, Navigate, and so forth. So we can make technical modules, we can make structural models, we can make architectural models. And then we need to process the models in, check the models in Solibri, in Naviswork. We might need to do some calculation on the models, so different calculation programs.
What do you mean by calculations?
Cost calculation, like there are some Norwegian software we are applying, like SmartCalc, EasyCalc, and so forth. And then maybe you need to do something extra with your models, IFC. So Simple BIM is an important tool. Yeah, and of course, scripting and Dynamo Grasshopper is something that is in the wind and very important. So a lot of software, plenty of software, I would say. So if I was to say one thing about how our curriculum has developed, we started out as being very software orientated because that was what we knew. And we saw that, okay, we need to do this first. Luckily, we have seen that BIM is so much more than software, is also an equal amount of process. So you need software, and you need to know how to use it, when to use it, and to what extent you need to use it. So we try to equal up those two elements, I would say. But we also try to take some pride in using the newest updates, the newest software. Yeah,
I see. Are you also? Do you have anything to do with Dalux? With Dalux or something? What's called BIM Collab and BIM Sync? Do you use these softwares as well?
yes, and yes. We use BIM Sync, Dalux, and BIM Collab.
Why? What do you do with them?
Well, it's a good way of collaborating. BIM Collab, for instance, works well with Solibri. So our students, if they have a project and make their BCF reports, it's a good way to learn how to work on a BCF server. BIMsync is an excellent collaboration tool and software for exchanging information, also BCF, but on its own as well. And Dalux is probably the software who is, for the moment, best in facility management, and starting to develop some very good tools regarding that area.
What can you do with Dalux? What is this software doing exactly?
Well, there are two softwares, as I have understood. It's one for facility management and it's one on site. So for us, it's about giving the students the possibility to use the software in their projects. So they make their own models, they have their own interdisciplinary projects, so they need to exchange information back and forth. And using Dalux and training themselves in using Dalux for that is excellent, because when they get a job and they are out on site, they will meet that software and they need to adapt to that.
I understand. Do you use any other tools like VR or artificial augmented reality?
Yeah, mostly we use VR, not so much AR yet, but VR is something that we have been focusing for a couple of years now, and particularly we try to focus on VR in a collaborative sense, so that you can use VR not only to have a look at a model, but how you can collaborate in a model. That was very useful in the Corona pandemic, which we are currently under, so that we could do some work still from distance. We could still have collaborative processes through VR. So yeah, we are using that, and it's fun, and it's easy to learn, easy to use, easy to meet other people in virtual reality and have a actual discussion about models, even if you are not physically co-located.
I understand, but isn't this is this accessible to everybody, or what do you need? Do you need Oculus Rift, or what do you need for it?
It's still early days, I would say. So you need you need a gaming PC, and you need software in order to run the different processes, of course, and then you need access to a project. So it's well, for each user you need for the moment your own dedicated PC. So, and then you need the VR glasses as well, and then you need software. So it's a bit expensive, you might say, but I know that quite a lot of projects are starting up using VR and are finding it very useful in finding issues they can't find with Solibri, for instance, because Solibri is all about rules. You know, I have a rule for this. I want to check if the distance is so and this, and within those limits. But at the end of the day, it's human beings who are in the model and are going to use the building. And when we come into a room, we see other things and we experience other things. And some of those things are experienceable through VR.
Yeah.
So I know a couple of road projects, tunnel projects, railway projects are using VR to find issues on the projects. And from what I'm hearing, it works. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be a little bit prohibitive for personal use, maybe, but definitely companies can try to buy this kind of stuff for a few users at least, right? The bigger ones at least, yeah. Yeah, who are the main employers for the students from your school? Are most of them working in contractors? Like, do you have a percentage?
Yeah, it's varies a bit, but I would say the contractors are the main area where our students ends up. Then the engineers take their share, and then some go to clients and software providers, and some ends up being teachers.
Like you.
A small percentage goes to the architects. Yeah.
I understand. But too little to the customers, to clients.
Yeah, but the contractors are those who are taking the largest quantity of students, I would say, yeah.
How many teachers are you there?
At the moment, we're 7 teachers who are dedicated to teaching BIM here at our school.
Each of you teach the same things, or do you have each topics you teach?
Well, we are getting more and more specialized. So there are some who are excellent at Revit and ArchiCAD, and some who focus more on Solibri, for instance. And I am focusing mainly on Solibri. Yeah.
I understand. I asked you already if there are other countries. It's a little bit weird and interesting that we don't find similar programs in Sweden, Denmark, or Finland.
Yeah, you might say that, but you might think that the AEC industry is a conservative business. Try talking to educational institutions. They are also quite conservative. So maybe one part of the answer is there. Yeah.
Yeah. Why should, for example, some interested parties should start such a program in their country? Would you recommend it?
Yes. I think you have to ask yourselves what is the task of an educational institution? Is it to reproduce itself, or is it to meet a demand, or to meet the needs of the people which is there to provide some education for. And I think that in our case, there is a demand for knowledge in the BIM industry, and I think we have an obligations to meet that demand. So, and a part of that is fun as well. So, win-win.
Okay. One last question. What do you know and what is your opinion about open source software?
Open source?
In AAC, not generally. Open source in our industry, in the building industry.
Oh, like open standards, you think?
No. I'm open source software. Like, for example, I had an episode I talk about Blender BIM, or there are other softwares like FreeCAD, for example, which is a kind of alternative to Revit, like, but it's free, open source, like free software.
Well, to be honest with you, I haven't tried that out to an extent which I can give you a good answer to it. So probably will not give a good answer to it. Sorry about that, but I'm positive to opening up the possibilities, and I think that a lot of the software industry needs to be challenged, and we try as an institution to not be too dependent on one software developer. We try to broaden out who we deal with and what sort of software we teach. So anything that will contribute to a bigger diversity, I'm all for. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Harald, for taking the time to come here and talk with me.
Thank you.